So is this what many have long warned about, Gideon? Mass displacement of Palestinians in Gaza, no longer just a fringe idea, but now an explicit goal of Israeli policy, regardless of the clear legal and humanitarian implications of it.
Yes, there's no other way to describe it, but really an establishment of a concentration camp under the Jewish state, which was established on the ashes of the Holocaust. It is really very hard to believe that this is happening 80 years after the Holocaust by the way, by a son of Holocaust survivor, the Minister of Defense, who invented this crazy satanic idea. He's by himself a son of Holocaust survivors. Unbelievable, outrageous. And I'm just quite surprised that the world is not more stormed than it should be. From Israelis, I expect much less.
Is the Israeli military, Gideon, in a position today to both continue the fight in Gaza and also build this humanitarian city, so-called humanitarian city that they're proposing? Does it have the resources to do this right now?
They claim that no. They told the Prime Minister that they cannot go for this mission as long as the fighting goes on, as long as the war goes on. But you know, it doesn't take much if you are treating people like animals, and even animals shouldn't be treated like this. You don't need so many resources. You just shoot them and frighten them and concentrate them. There is no idea to build anything in this so-called humanitarian city. It's all about a few thousand tents and some sources of water, and they don't plan to make it normal life there. The idea is to make those people leave the Gaza Strip and to tyrannize them until they will be ready to leave. And therefore, yes, it takes some preparations, but I'm afraid that this can be done.
How are Israelis viewing this, given, as you mentioned yourself, the history, the establishment of essentially what amounts to a concentration camp at the hands of Israel? Is there any debate or discussion within the country, within Israeli society, about the morality and long-term consequences of such a policy?
Almost, except of my newspaper, who is very devoted on this issue and then fights now on a daily basis against it and using the most harsh words, including vocabulary and jargon which comes from the Nazi times, unprecedented. Haaretz never used those words like concentration camp, transfer, soon it will be genocide. But except of my newspaper, very, very little, I must tell you. Ever since the 7th of October, the Israelis lost any interest and any humanity toward Gaza. It must be clear again and again. For most of the Israelis, the only people who live right now in Gaza are the hostages. All the rest don't interest them and don't exist. And therefore, there are no guilt feelings and no discussions and no shame. This continues and continues, and I'm afraid that this can get even worse.
Extraordinary what you tell us there. Israeli officials, Gideon, have explicitly tied this plan to the so-called Trump plan. Do you get a sense that within Israeli leadership circles that they get a sense that the U.S. will turn a blind eye to this or even give tacit approval?
Why blind eye? I think Donald Trump will support it. By the end of the day, it is based on his idea. I mean, the first idea of transferring all the people from Gaza was his. He legitimized it with all those stupid talkings about Riviera in Gaza. This was the green light for transferring 2.3 million people from the villages and cities and lands. And Donald Trump, we couldn't care less. For him, it's only about interest and about knowing that the Gaza Strip will somehow get silent. Would it be through exterminating all the people or transferring all the people? He couldn't care less.